Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in. It is JJ and Alex. Happy NFL Draft Day to you, everybody. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. We got College Game Day up on the screen. Does that mean that we're going to get a couple...
Why is College Game Day on your ESPN
Does that mean we're going to get a couple cuss words from the coach from Alabama Jones?
Is Alabama Jones going to be at the draft?
That's what I'm asking.
What are they doing?
They're doing a thing. They're doing a full.
No, they're not. They're not going to be at the draft. They're just running ads for College Game Day.
I don't think so. I think it's technically
during draft coverage, which is brilliant.
I know, but I'm just saying. I think they're going to actually.
What the heck? Are they really there?
Yeah, man. They're doing
Why
it.
is College Game Day in Green Bay?
They just put 15,000 people into Lambeau right behind the set, and Alabama Jones might drop a couple of cuss words and then win a sports Emmy at the end of this whole thing. Good for him. Yes, the people milling about outside of Lambeau Field are doing what all of us are doing, which is wondering how this thing's going to turn out. We're really excited about it.
He'll definitely be wearing a fedora.
He will have a fedora on. It's not going to be that cold, so...
It's still Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit chilly, I guess. But, yeah, I love the idea. I love the fan who shows up at the draft. I love the fan who shows up at the draft that no matter what happens, they boo their team. Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite
must
fans.
Love Jets fans.
Oh, my gosh. So we're 3 hours until-ish. We're 3 hours-ish until the NFL draft and pick number one, who is likely Cam Ward. And, yes, there he is in the flesh.
No fedora for Alabama Jones.
Nick Saban's wearing like an actual suit. He's sitting up. He's but like I said, his vibe now is he's got to say a few cuss words, and then that's where we get.
That's good. He can get away with it because he's Nick Saban.
He's Nick Saban. He can do whatever he wants. Yes, NFL draft coverage firing up, of course, tonight, and you're going to get you're going to get an interesting. Every draft starts to form and become something interesting. JJ, by the time that it's all said and done, the attitude that we have going into these things, stuff changes so much, right? When you start to talk about what we were thinking at the beginning of the season versus middle of the season in the college football world, and then at the end of the year, and then even just this morning, everything seems to be shifting as well. So we'll talk a lot about that and some of the things that could and could not be going on.
The top four are locked in.
Is that what you think?
Of the draft, yes.
The top four.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, I always like that there could be a little bit of change. I like the idea of some last second trades going on.
Keep an eye on number 5 if you think that's going to happen.
So picking 5th are the Jaguars, yes?
Yes.
And who do you think they would
Well, they need a lot of things.
So just as long as they
There could be a team that wants to trade up and get an Ashton Genty or an offensive tackle.
Yeah. And if they feel like they could get a good value at a first-round guy at 10 or 14 and that same person would be around still, then maybe they make that
get an
trade.
Additional first-round pick. They're looking for bulk. They don't need a running back either. They got a running back.
Oh, yeah. Liam Cohen, first-year head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Got to be interesting to see what they can do. Lots going on in the program today, so we'll have that. We're going to have some bold predictions in the NFL draft coming up in just a little while. I also have a very, very good Would You Rather for JJ today. By the way, he's never aware of what the topics are.
Nope, that's the rule here. I can't know.
He's not aware of the topics. We also have an amazing top 10 that you're not going to want to miss as well. We have tons to get through. We're going to get some breakdowns throughout the day, and we're very, very excited about it, including Mitch Harper is going to come on the program, final hour of the show. BYU Insider for KSLSports.com. And then for an NHL breakdown on some of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Steve Wino from the Associated Press covering the NHL is going to also join us. So we've got a packed show. Stuff's fun. Everything's going to be a good time today. That's what we're committed to, JJ. Let's just have some fun. What are we supposed to do? We don't come in here and get all serious. It's a freaking sports talk show.
Why would we be serious?
Never.
We don't take ourselves seriously.
No. So let's jump in here. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Check it out, Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, all in the refrigerated section. All right, let's jump into the cut right here, and I've got some NCAA possibilities and some transfer portal news that may or may not be news. It's one of a new wrinkle that I have no idea how we're going to handle, and it's actually one that I'm a little bit disappointed in. Of all the Wild West stuff that's happened, let's kick it off right here with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, our program brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth. For all of your trusted local needs in retirement, trust a local fiduciary, TrajanWealth.com. JJ, one of the things that I just looked at, and I saw it earlier this morning, and I read it, and I said, I gotta run this past JJ. All my sports stuff that I have questions about, I kind of run it through your filter so that I can understand it a little bit better. College basketball players, which, of course, will start a trend across all of the different sports, including football, I'm assuming. There are college basketball players who are jumping into the transfer portal. That's not new. The transfer portal is going to, I think, open up, or no, is it close? When does it open up and close?
It already closed.
The college basketball
it's closed on Wednesday night.
So it closed on Wednesday night, and as it closed, before it closed, no fewer than a dozen players who do not have remaining eligibility left got into the transfer portal. I don't know how that works. That's like saying that you went to the, it's like going to the, you get fired from a job, but then you still go to the Christmas party? I don't know how that works.
Remember George Costanza in Seinfeld.
He just kept going.
He just kept showing up for work. Maybe some of these college basketball players are going to pull a George Costanza and just show up to practice first day in October.
So, including Zeke Mayo, who's now who, if he was given another year of eligibility at Kansas, would be in his 71st year of college basketball. Zeke Mayo at Kansas, his name is brought up, and then Ian Schiffelin, who played at Clemson, big names that have gone into the transfer portal, even though they do not have eligibility left, JJ. And their whole reasoning, let me read the actual, and both players basically copied and pasted one another on this thing. And here's what Zeke Mayo said. Tell me if there's any lawyer speaking here. Due to the pending NCAA rules, I have been advised to enter my name into the transfer portal. I am still focused on pursuing professional options. Okay? Ian Schiffelin, here's what he said. While I'm pursuing my options at the professional level, I've been advised, due to pending NCAA cases, to enter the portal on the very outside chance that more eligibility is allowed. So what they're banking on, JJ, and I have a hard time thinking that the NCAA, knowing all the L's that they've taken recently, would be able to argue against this. JJ, our idea for how long a player should be playing in college may be absolutely obliterated. We already know people who've played 6-7 years. Usually injuries are a part of that. Obviously,
they're
red
called
shirts.
Doctors.
Yeah. I sent you a Tommy Boy thing today. Did you see it?
It was great. Yes.
I couldn't believe how well done that was.
The Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy on Shark Tank.
It
was just so well done.
Thank you, AI, for that.
Oh my goodness! So as I'm watching this whole thing play out, they go in there and they say, "Hey, look, we don't know what the future is going to look like in college, and if we bail right now, and we definitely ride off into the sunset and pretend like our eligibility is totally out, then coming back is a lot different than I'm staying in the portal. Someone's trying to remove you from your desk, from your cubicle at your office, and you've chained yourself to the desk. Okay, that's what these guys are doing. And out of these 2,000 names that are in the transfer portal, there is a small number, but a number of people who are saying, hey, the world of eligibility running out, if you don't let me keep playing, you're not letting me be able to earn a living doing this thing, which is what everything has been centered around, JJ. And the NCAA has had to sort of just bend to the whim of anybody who rolls up and says, hey, I was at a JC for 2 years, Diego Pavia, right? I was at a JC. I wasn't allowed to earn money, NIL money. You neglected to allow me that opportunity, and I want to be able to have 2 more extra years of earning money at this FBS level. And they're like, I guess we got to at least think about it, and then a judge has to go, I guess just we'll put an injunction and you can try it, I guess, and we're going to figure it out. because the NCAA doesn't want to be caught on the outside. What I was going to ask is the larger picture.
Yeah.
Are we going to see the number of years of eligibility change in college sports, because it's no longer the world of, as we've been told so many times. Remember that push we had from all the schools here locally? Were like, they're not athletes, they're student athletes.
Oh my gosh,
You
those
call them
days
student
are
athletes.
over.
So that's what I was going to ask you is that if they're not student athletes first, then how arbitrary does the number 4 of 4 years of eligibility? How ridiculous is that? And right now, as it is, 4 years of eligibility of playing plus the 4 or whatever in football, it's the 4 games.
So there's
during
a
your
5-year
redshirt
window, 5 years
Yes.
to play 4, right?
Yeah.
So that's what currently exists, and that's what's being challenged here.
And all these guys they've already capped it out. They've played their 5 years.
There's also a local player who's doing the same thing. Ian Martinez at Utah State put his name in the transfer portal before it closed Tuesday night.
See, everybody's getting this. Somebody
He's smart.
I don't know what it was. J.G. Wentworth reached out in his class action lawsuit.
JGWentworth.com.
He says, hey, get in the
J.G.
transfer
Wentworth's in the
portal.
ears of all these basketball players saying, hey, hold on now. Get in the portal, try to maintain your eligibility.
I don't want to quit playing basketball, and I need cash now. Right?
Call BYU. They got plenty.
You don't know that song, Alex? Okay. I love how all the things that he knows our producer does and doesn't know. He knows the J.G. Wentworth tune.
I thought mostly people over 65 that watch TV at 11 a.m. knew that song. But I'm glad that Alex knows
That's
it too.
good.
Yeah, this is just in case this litigation works out their way, because you make a fair point. Like, is this college basketball anymore? Is this college football anymore? Is this college athletics anymore?
Yeah.
Because if these people are being paid, and especially if the House settlement goes through and the players are paid by the universities themselves, by the athletic departments themselves, and they become employees, that's not college sports. That's professional sports. So why do you have an arbitrary 4 or 5 year eligibility window that would normally be the amount of time it takes for you to get your degree? Right? That's what it was always based on.
Right.
Is we're going to give you the amount of eligibility equal to the amount of time it would take for the average student to get his degree. So they'd have 5 years to play 4. So you could take a redshirt year and then play 4 years. Those days are over. And pending all this litigation, maybe those days are over completely. I doubt that, but at the same time, you make a great point. How can you enforce a 5-year eligibility window on people that are just employees? They're just professional athletes at this point.
Right.
But this is where the lines are blurred. Like, how deep does this go? Because not all the schools in Division I are going to be able to treat their players like professional athletes because, like, I don't know, like North Carolina A&T. Like, I'm just coming up with like some random.
The Rattlers?
Can Utah Tech afford to pay their players salaries? I doubt it. A lot of those schools are still just giving their players academic/athletic scholarships and aren't paying them.
Yeah.
Not every player is making money.
No, and
in fact, I bet 5% of college basketball players made more than 5 figures last year. Maybe it's even less than that.
Most schools cannot.
We're just dealing with the cream of the crop, the Big 12, and we're talking about big-time college basketball. BYU and Utah play in that space, and even Utah State in the Mountain West, which was a terrific basketball conference. These teams are playing big-time college basketball, but so many other schools, even some schools in the state, are not. They're not paying their players. Snow College isn't paying their players. So where is the line drawn here? I don't know how you handle this now.
Yeah, and again,
which is why we need governance. Even the NFL, even the NBA has a commissioner, even Major League Baseball, all these professional leagues, NHL, they have a standard. They have rules. They have governance. They have guardrails. They have collective bargaining for their players. But these are professional sports we're talking about. If college sports are just going to become professional sports, then what are we doing here?
So I was saying this too, is like, first of all, the years of people making fun of BYU for being too old, we've already seen that go by the wayside because there's so many 7 and 8 year guys now. And
yeah, you're gonna have to make fun of the Florida Gators who just won a national championship.
Right. But here's the thing: is that it's the COVID years. People still have a COVID year attached to them. So if they were a freshman coming in, the COVID year hits, then they redshirt. They really didn't start playing until their 2022 season, right?
Right.
So you're talking 2022, 2023, 2024. You're going to see guys.
There's still COVID kids.
You're going to see COVID guys, and then there's going to be some injuries here and there. You're going to see guys who have a COVID year still attached to that resume of their time in college sports probably up until the 2027 season. And you're going to have guys who are older. What point do we cut this thing off? Where do we cut it off? 4 years. The whole reason for the 4 years is because you're like, that's because that's how long college is. That's what we've always done.
To get your degree. When you graduate, you're done.
But now, because it doesn't matter, because these guys are at school and they don't even care they're at the school. The school's like, thanks for being here. We don't even need to give you a degree. In fact, in the basketball side of things, it's really weird where none of these guys who are the best at their level of college basketball or at their college basketball. That talent level, they're leaving early. None of them are getting their degree. And it's pretty rare. I mean, Utah still does a phenomenal job at graduating their guys. BYU, I think, does too. The thing is that you're going to see guys who get to the school and they're going to graduate just because they want to play 7 years. So do we make it 5? Do you make it 6? Do you make it 7? Where do you cut it off? Because anytime that you say we're cutting it off, then you could go to court and say, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? I'm still a grad student. I'm getting my master's degree.
And then the court's going to answer the question. Well, I don't know why. So why do we have all these arbitrary rules?
There has to be something
that don't apply to real life. They only apply to the NCAA.
But see, of all the things that we've heard, of all the things that we've seen in terms of a change, I still want to be able to sort of refer to these guys as kids, right?
Right.
In a world where every so often you get a guy who comes from out of the country and kicks the ball at the University of Utah. Who was that? The guy out of England who was 30-something years old who played for the Utes. He transferred to Colorado State, too.
I forgot
pretty
his name.
recently. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This happens periodically. You'll get a punter who's 40. It happens. But the eligibility requirements and how long you can play in college. Because weirdly, at the basketball level, that's the sport where the guys leave early. And yet these are all basketball players who are going, I just want to keep this thing going, man. I have zero ability to make money playing this game again.
There's only
somewhere
450 spots on NBA rosters.
And look, and we talked about how much money could be made overseas, and even that group's small, right?
There's only 30 guaranteed contracts in the draft every year.
So
these guys aren't going to get those spots. So if you could stay another year and make $100,000 or $200,000 playing college basketball, yeah, you're going to do that.
I'm all for you getting a medical red shirt.
Yeah,
I'm all
sense.
for you getting a medical red shirt one time. I'm all for you getting, that obviously your red shirt season and then whatever, maybe a medical red shirt or other waivers that may go on there. But I think we've got to figure out a way to make it to where we get rid of these guys. And I'm not even saying it from an age standpoint. I don't know. I don't know.
Because who's running the show?
I don't know. And that's the
who's
thing.
in charge?
But see, when does it end? Because do you want to have guys who
play? Not the NCAA anymore.
He's in his 10th year. Record book's gone. Right? It's already weird because guys who break records now, you look and you go, that's amazing.
Well, look at football. Would Cam Rising have taken another year if somebody would have thrown him another 7 figures at him?
Cam Ward has the record for Division I touchdowns thrown with 158. Okay? But he had 2 years at an FCS school, still a Division I school.
Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word down in San Antonio. 2 years at Wazoo. And then this other year at Miami, right? So
Remember, Bo Nix had the record for games played by a college player.
And again, he played in 60-something games, and you try to do the math, and you're like,
the COVID
hold on a minute,
years and that stuff.
Right, and so playing 60-something games and breaking records when a guy did it in 38 before, I don't know. The record books are one thing, and it doesn't really necessarily matter, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Are we going to have 28-year-olds who've played since they were 19 in college sports? That's something where I go, if you were worried about there being roster spots for guys who are young in the past or high school guys being able to get stuff in the past. So if I'm arbitrating this thing, if I'm getting through, if there is a group that will oversee this, I still want them to say, no, we have to make you move on. We have to. Because the high school.
Legally you cannot?
I don't know what the legal. I don't have a legal leg to stand on here.
All the stuff that the NCAA did forever, and this is why we have this problem now, because the NCAA went too far. They didn't allow players to make anything, and they had all these silly, stupid rules, and they turned a situation into these schools and these coaches exploiting these young people for their benefit. And Nick Saban, I'm staring at him on the TV screen right there, is one of those people that did that. How much money has Nick Saban made? And up until recently, his players could not get paid. He made millions off of their labor. So now we're going to go back. We can't go back now and start saying, "Oh, now we're going to put rules in." Well, the courts have already established that this is a mess. And what you need is an organization. You need to organize and create an institution and organization that can oversee this, that people have to sign contracts for. You're going to have to figure out how to get these kids paid or allow them the opportunities to do what they do. The house settlement is essentially going to allow these schools to pay these kids, but at that point they become employees. And you treat employees a lot different than you do students. But again, where is the line drawn? At what schools, what programs are going to be the pay for play and which ones are not? I don't know. But you're right, there has to be some kind of organization and there's some kind of standard. But then does there?
Then we just turn college football.
If you have no legal ground to stand on, then you can't establish that.
Then we just turn college football into. We've talked about it being a dedevelopmental league.
But what is?
Let's be honest about it.
Let's
just make it the AAA version. So you always have that one guy who's been the catcher. He's been the catcher. He's the Bull Durham guy.
Well, that's what baseball has been.
That's
forever,
what I'm saying.
Right?
Like you got the guy who's 41 years old, and he never got his cup of coffee in the big leagues.
Well, because the guy in front of him up with the Yankees is a 15-time All-Star. Of course, he's never going to get called up.
Okay. Give me an executive order. Give me an injunction. I don't want this to go further than 5 years for these guys. And it's not because I don't want them to make money. It's not because I'm trying to limit them in making money. But there has to be a standard so that you can have in the hopper other guys coming up from high school to be able to get this opportunity. By the way, as long as scholarships are still attached to this, there's some version of school attached to it too, which means you still might be able to say, hey, these scholarships are only for this amount of time. So,
but we're one more decision away from these not being scholarship situations. They're employees.
Cam Ward, I was reading about it today. He had 5 different endorsement deals that he was doing. That's the way you do it, by the way. If you're a big name, it's one thing to get NIL money from your boosters. Adidas, Bose, Aqua di Gio, your 17-year-old.
The stuff I put on myself when I was in high school.
Exactly, 17-year-old cologne. They had him on the docket too. That's how you start getting that money, is getting some endorsement deals. I'm all about it, but we've got to be able to put some sort of a limit on how many years you can be playing a collegiate athlete or a college sport.
Well, good luck in the court system doing that. Good luck.
Gosh, what are you, a lawyer for J.G. Wentworth over here?
Yeah.
Man.
See, I'm no fun guy.
JJ's hard. JJ's hard, man.
Well, how many cases of the NCAA is trying to do exactly what you said, and like the courts are like, no,
can't do it.
The scam that the NCAA has been running for decades is over.
All right.
And the kids are benefiting of it, but now we got chaos. So there's got to be a happy medium here, and I hope that gets figured out. But right now, that's not. There's nothing imminent.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's take that break here. We'll come back. We've got more right around the corner. We have some bold predictions from the NFL draft. What could happen today? They're live at Lambeau, and the guys who showed up at the draft, gutsy. Some of them aren't scheduled to go anywhere near the first round, or maybe you don't expect them to go in the first round. And we'll talk about that.
Maybe they know
more.
something we don't.
Sure. All right, stay right here. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex, with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. You believe in karma? Even if you don't, I know you believe in doing good things for a good cause. So if you go to KSLSports.com, we can help raise money for an awesome cause and create some good vibes for the Jazz during the lottery. It's the KSL Sports 2-for-1. Donate $2 to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital, and that will go a long way on the karma train to be able to try to get that number 1 overall pick. What is it, JJ, in the modern era since 2019, since they flattened the odds that all 3 of the top?
No bottom team in the league has won the lottery.
No worst
record
team has ever won the lottery in the last.
The second worst and the third worst have won it, not the worst. Not good for the Jazz.
The
but,
sixth
someone's got to do it the first time,
The
right?
6th and 8th worst records have won it more than the.
Well, last year was the Hawks had a 3% chance to win the draft. Of all the drafts to win it with 3% odds, you win that draft, which sucked.
Good for them. Good. Get that one out of the way.
It got them in the play-in.
Let's just go right back to the mean. Let's get it going. So go to KSLSports.com and you can donate for the KSL Sports 2-for-1. And it all goes to Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. So it's an awesome cause. JJ, the news today is, and all the things that are floating around, is that Shedeur Sanders may drop even further in the draft.
Oh, boy.
Yep. But the question is that a bunch of BS?
Could be.
Because right now you've got the GM of the Giants who tweeted out some Jackson Dart footage, right? Isn't that the thing that he put out? Was it the Jackson Dart footage that the was it the Giants GM, Alex, our producer, who put that out? Who was the guy? Was it Jackson Dart footage? Oh, his kid put it out. Okay. So you got to use all your different channels. So the GM of the New York Giants, is that the same kid who was like, "Don't get rid of Saquon," and no one listened to him? And the one who said to pick up Jaden Daniels, he didn't do it. This kid he's basically the assistant GM.
They should hire him.
Maybe they did. Maybe that's why he's tweeting it out. But would the Giants trade up, or would the Giants use their first pick to be able to get Jackson Dart? That'd be quite the roll of the dice.
No.
I'm looking at all these different.
They've got Abdul Carter.
Listen,
lined up and ready to go. It's not going to happen. They would trade down to do that.
What I'm saying is crazier things have happened. We saw Michael Penix Jr., who was supposed to go in the second round last year, go number 9 overall.
You're right.
To the Falcons. And experts are saying now that they don't see Jackson Dart falling further than the 9th overall pick. That's crazy. That even a week ago, people were like, "Yeah, he's probably a second round guy." That's how crazy it's gotten, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how this thing goes. I was looking at running backs today, and one of the things that happened was, and I think you're going to see it this year, that you're going to see the highest picked running back in the first round of the NFL draft since 2017, when Leonard Fournette was taken in as the 4th overall pick to the Jaguars. Where does Ashton Jeanty go? Is somebody making some crazy moves to get him? Is he going to go early? What do you think some of these bold predictions are here? Because I don't know. I don't know if you're going to see more than Ashton Jeanty. You're going to see a lot of names that are thrown out there. I think it'd be great to have a couple of running backs go, but Omarion Hampton is getting like a lot of this, like he might slide to the second round type of action too.
Which that's got to be total BS. It's got to be total BS. I feel like I'm a Broncos fan. If the Broncos are at 20, if Hampton's on the board, I feel like they're taking him. I don't think he's going to be on the board at 20. I think him and Jeanty are going to go earlier than 20. I think the tight ends, the 2-star tight ends, are going to go earlier, and which is going to kind of create a lot of teams in the back half of that first round that might want to trade out or trade around. I think there's some crazy stuff that could happen once you get past, once you get into the teens. I think you're going to see some stuff, see some action. But I think if you're looking at the draft tonight, this is not a bold prediction. I think the first 4 are already locked in. I think you already know who those 4 are going to be.
Okay, so Cam Ward at 1.
Cam Ward's going to be 1. Travis Hunter will be the 2nd pick. Abdul Carter, the Giants,
3
will be
to
the
3rd.
Giants. Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU, will be the 4th pick to the Patriots. They want to get that tackle to protect Drake May.
So number 5 at the Jaguars is where it gets interesting,
the draft
right?
really starts is number 5.
All right.
Now, do the Jacksonville Jaguars want to take Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State? This is kind of where he's slotted to go. Well, the Jaguars have a lot of needs. Running back's not really one of them.
Yeah, but if he's if he's the best talent available at that part in the draft, the wisdom is a GM goes, I don't care who, I don't care what it is, I don't care what position it is. We're just going to take the best guy and then figure it out. We're going to get the best talent on the bus and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely, that is the right thing to do. Unless there's a lot of teams that want to move up to get that guy that you're going to take.
Ooh.
One of them could be the Chicago Bears. There's a lot of buzz that the Bears want Jeanty bad and might have the assets to move up and get him.
Ooh, I love the idea of some trade action.
How about some Ashton Jeanty and Caleb Williams in Ben Johnson's offense? Pretty nice, right?
I don't know. I still
if
don't
you're the
believe it. I don't
Bears-
believe it all in Caleb Williams yet.
Well,
so
I mean, it means better than anything the Bears have even been close
but if
to
they
having.
had a decent run game,
Can you
you're
imagine
right.
being
It
a
would make
Bears
their
fan?
lives.
You wake up tomorrow and you have Ashton Genty at running back with Caleb Williams at quarterback, and you've got Ben Johnson's offense. Like, and in a place where the Bears have never had offense ever, that would be the best case scenario for that team. And I think that being a first-year head coach, and kind of wanting to make a statement to not only the league but their fan base and everybody else that the Bears are serious and the Bears are wanting to take a jump in a very, very competitive division, that would be a bold step. So if you're looking for a bold prediction, I'm going to throw that out there, that the Bears could be aggressively moving up to number 5 to take Ashton Genty, because I think the Jaguars are – it just feels like that's a place where they would be moving around.
So a
If
lot
they
of folks
don't, then maybe they're looking at a Ted McMillan or something like that to give Trevor Lawrence a playmaker.
You know, one of the names that we looked at that would have been kind of fun, I think we talked about it as that's fun. I don't think it's going to happen possibility. But right now, a lot of experts say that the Giants maybe would take Jackson Dart high. I don't know if number 3 high is where they'd want to take him.
Really
That's
high.
extremely high. But the Giants, but then a lot of folks saying, you know what he's not going to do? He's not going to fall below 9. And I'm going to go with that. And I think it's even going to be more because guess who has the 9th overall pick?
The New Orleans
The
Saints.
Saints, who we talked about as a good option. I think
That
Jackson
is a
Dart.
team that needs a franchise quarterback.
I think Jackson Dart goes to the New Orleans Saints at the number 9 overall pick.
Wow. So I've got a trade at 5, and you've got Dart to the Saints
I've got
at
Dart
9.
to the Saints at 9.
Those are both bold predictions.
Now, you know what that means is Shedeur Sanders is not going to be the second quarterback taken in this draft.
Then all of a sudden there's only one team in the first round that's probably looking to draft a quarterback, and that leaves the Steelers being that team.
Well, it gets and it gets interesting because then there's also the discussion that happens where you go, hey, this guy's still on the board. He was apparently a top 10 talent, and then suddenly he's not. And do you just take him because you want to have him? Do you just take him because you want to have that massive talent there in the first round, even if it's 10 picks after you thought you could get him?
Or do the Browns or the Giants, who are way high in the draft but feel like Shedeur and Jackson Dart were way too early to take, move into the top to the back end of the first round to get either Shedeur or Dart, whichever one falls the furthest.
Okay, I've got another one for you. I think that, and yesterday I was convinced it was like the very last conversation we had with Sly about this, and I started to buy in. And then when I was like going to bed last night, I had visions of this happening. So I feel like that I've had some spiritual moment here.
Wow.
Okay?
You had a vision?
The Texans are going to move up in the draft. They're going to trade up in the draft, and they're going to take Ted McMillan.
Whoa.
The Texans are going to move up in the draft. Your Broncos might move up in the draft. They're like the number 1 team that people are saying are going to actually trade up in the draft.
Do you know who has a history of being aggressive and moving up in drafts?
Juan Elway.
Not Juan Elway. Thank goodness. Love you, John, but you were a terrible executive.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sean Payton has a
he loves
history
it.
of moving up in the draft. What did he do last year? We didn't have to do last year.
Did he get hired as the GM too? By the way,
He's basically running the show.
He kind of is. Yeah. I get the
George
vibe.
Payton is their GM.
Okay.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
You know.
You get the vibe that
Sean Payton's running the show.
Sean Payton signed that contract and goes, I need all draft
Sean
autonomy.
Payton has a lot of say in what's going to go
Okay.
on, trust me. And the Broncos are definitely a team in the first round
What's their biggest
to look
need?
out for.
What's their biggest need?
Running back. You got your franchise quarterback. You've got an excellent offensive line. Your defense is really good.
If Ashton Genty goes early,
you need to be able to run the football.
I'd feel just as good if I got Omarion Hampton
Or Travion Henderson.
or Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. I would
even, in the second or third round, look at R.J. Harvey. I think he's a star.
bring in a couple of running backs, see what they do.
He's like ranked 9th in the draft. Like, that's incredible value.
Yes.
R.J. Harvey could be your day one running back starter. He's that good. We saw him. You watched him at UCF. He's a star.
He was really, really good. So, all right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Those are some of our predictions here. We'll see. I like the idea of I just love trades, man. I just love the trades. I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to move up in the trade. They're going to trade as far up as they can, and they're going to take Jackson Dart.
The Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah.
They're going to trade
make things
Zachary Rizichet for Jackson Dart?
Sorry, not the Hawks, the Falcons. And I was just going to say that the Falcons are going to trade up and get another quarterback in the top 10. Just keep doing it. Every year, it's their new tradition. You just buck the trends and just go straight up and go, we like Michael Penix Jr., but we're taking Jackson Dart.
He'll be our kicker next year.
We're taking Shedeur Sanders.
Until he's ready. He'll redshirt next season.
All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back. Oh, we've got an awesome edition of Would You Rather coming up around the corner, so stay with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Here's how Would You Rather works. I roll out a category, and then JJ decides what the thing is he wants to keep moving forward here. You've seen this internet phenomenon. I give you a couple choices, and then you pick one or the other to keep going forward with. And I figured because it's a Thursday, because you and I both were actually having a discussion yesterday about a different TV topic, but but this one came up, and I thought, oh, you know what? This would be a phenomenal Would You Rather. And it is, and we don't have it anymore. It's not a thing. But NBC Thursdays must-watch TV, the best TV show across the decades that was Thursday night, because it's a Thursday night. And even though
rest in peace, must-see TV Thursday.
And even though must-see TV is now the draft tonight, you have to tell me what your favorite must-see TV shows were. And we got to come up with the champion.
Can't wait to find my Sophie's Choice here.
In my head, in your head, I know you're thinking, well, we had a discussion yesterday, and boy, that was a great show. It's like, yeah, but when I roll these out, you'll forget that there are some all-timers here.
Yep.
Okay? Night Court or Cheers?
Cheers. Not even close.
Cheers or The Cosby Show?
For me, Cheers.
Cheers or Frasier?
Cheers.
Cheers or Parks and Rec?
Oh no. Oh no. See, this is my Sophie's Choice. I love
It's
Cheers.
early too. We haven't even gotten into the good ones yet.
Our whole family, my dad, we watched Cheers every Thursday night.
Okay.
I never missed a Cheers.
I remember specifically watching the series finale and like my dad getting like choked up watching Sam turn the lights off at the bar.
You don't understand. That show was incredible.
It was wild.
But oh my gosh, Parks and Rec is genius.
Yes, it is.
This is I have to go Parks and Rec.
Okay.
In a big upset.
Okay. Parks and Rec or 30 Rock?
Oh no. This is getting harder as we go along. Parks and Rec, but it's close.
Parks and Rec or Law and Order?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec or Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Oh. See, if to me in my brain, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a Fox program, so I'm going to stick with Parks and Rec.
All right. Parks and Rec or the Golden Girls?
Parks
Come
and
on,
Rec.
give me Blanche.
Parks and Rec. I love the Golden Girl. I love my girls, but going to go with Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec or The Office?
Oh, my gosh. See, there's a few seasons of The Office that are just elite, but not all of them are.
Oh, really?
So I think Parks and Rec was better. I'm going to still go with Ron Swanson and Parks and Rec, but that was a tough one. A lot of people are yelling at me right now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The Office is elite. The Office is the best show ever.
Parks and Rec or Friends?
Oh, Parks and Rec. Friends sucks.
Why would you say it like that? You didn't have to dismiss it so quickly.
Friends sucks.
Parks and Rec or Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld or The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
You know that meme with Will sitting in the living room with nobody there? Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay.
It's Seinfeld and it's not even close.
And then I don't know if I said Seinfeld or ER?
Seinfeld.
Okay. There you go. There's your,
and it's fitting that Seinfeld won that.
Of course.
But man, there was some tough choices in there.
Yeah.
Cheers is elite.
I didn't even bring up Family Ties. All right.
Wow, Family Ties didn't make the cut.
Or Suddenly Susan. So
Suddenly
don't give me that.
Susan.
Don't give me that look.
There's a lot of good shows. There's a long list.
Dharma and Greg, was that
was on ABC.
Oh, yeah, that's not an NBC Thursday night.
Nice poll, though, from shows that were on before you were born.
Good for Yeah. All right. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We will have a little bit of an NHL Stanley Cup playoff discussion. Steve Wino going to join us next, NHL writer for the Associated Press. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.